Mr. Deshmukh, how would one buy the right real estate property? What should they be looking for?
See, I think the first step in this process should be what areas do you want to stay in? Say, for example, you stay in Bridge Candy. Do you want to stay in Bridge Candy? You want to stay at Malabar? You want to stay at APNC? One is you have to decide what exact area you want to stay in and what is the secondary option for the location. For example, you're okay with living in Worli, you're okay with living in Mahalakshmi, or you're okay with living in Tardev. So you need to zero down on locations which you're okay with. Now, second point will be to contact a reputable broker of your area who's an expert of the domain you're talking about, and then setting realistic expectations. For example, you check with him, say if you want to buy a grade A residential building in say APNC or Bridge Candy, what you're looking at spending, or if you go to say a Worli, a Tadev or Mahalakshmi, how much would you land up spending there? So this will give you an idea on what type of budget you should be setting for it. Third step would be you speak to your family and you decide how much you want to spend. Say you want to spend, say, 30 crores, 20 crores, 5 crores, depending on what your budget is. You have to lock that number. Okay, this is the kind of budget I'm looking. After you've done this, you should decide exactly, you should know how much of carpet you need and what kind of layout you need. For example, you need a 2 bedroom of 2000 square feet, you need a 4 bedroom of 4000 square feet. You need to freeze this. After that, you should decide whether you want to go standalone or residential complex. So typically when it comes to new supply, there are two options you have. One is either you go to bigger buildings, which are larger residential complexes with all the amenities, or you prefer something private, which is a standalone building in one of the locations of your choice. Now, after you've done this, let your broker shortlist the best buildings and the best units are available in the market. Then you go and do your actual inspections. See which buildings you like, which buildings have a good vibe for you. Spend some time in these locations. See which locations are easier to get into, easier to get out of. Also pay attention to the kind of gentry which is in the building, which is other like-minded people present in the building or buying together with you. Now, shortlisting has to be, you have to choose what views you like, what layouts you like, what vastu, non-vastu, and all the other elements which come to specific details of the apartment. Now, once you've decided that you want to buy this particular unit and this particular building, I would recommend you to, strategize with your broker what kind of price you're looking at, what is your negotiation strategy. Set up a realistic target in terms of what price you want to achieve. You can refer to various things like registration details and last deal tracked prices. And then after this is done, go confidently to the developer and after negotiations, close the deal and get the unit off the market. It's very important to do this is because Mumbai there's a very high sales velocity and most likely the unit you've chosen, if you've chosen well, the unit will be off the market in some time. So you should go confidently, choose the unit, book the apartment and get out of the market.
People nowadays also prefer to buy pre-launches in real estate at the EOI stage. What's your take on this?
I think EOIs and all these are just 80-90% of them are just gimmicks. Most people who buy in these stages, you would buy the same apartment at a better price, maybe at a OC stage. I think I would refrain, as I said, 80-90% of them are not credible. I would not get into it unless it's a very good development and opportunity. For my clients, no EOI.
So, in a way, are you saying that people are getting fooled when they are being offered an EOI?
Not fooled, but they're not making sense either.
Can you elaborate on that?
See, when you buy it at a EOI stage, basic premise is that you are buying it very good price, then the prices will rise after 2 years. The same unit will say if you start at 1 crore, you'll get it at 135. But that doesn't really happen. When OC comes, your GST component is reduced and all the resellers come to the market. So that really levels the market. And after that, there are very few developers where you buy it at EOI stage and you actually make good money. You'll be hard pressed to name one or two. And I think that's why I don't really buy into this whole game of EOIs, because you are under a lot of pressure to choose a particular unit in a very time short period. You have to zero down on the view, vastu, everything. There are so many factors. So I would ask my client to really spend good time, relax, look at what he wants to buy, and then only close.
People always want to stay up to date on price trends and updates. Do you have any for the South Mumbai market?
See, South Bombay, we've effectively seen no price change from the last 8 to 9 years. So typically a 4 bedroom which was costing say about 8.5 crores is still 8.5 crores. So I see in the coming time, there's a strong uptick of prices. Already we are seeing micro market prices up by about 15 to 20%. We were effectively, for a mid luxury segment, we were at about 56 to 61,000 per square feet. I see this going to about 70 to 72,000 per square feet. Talking about the absolute prime, we're talking about areas of, say, a Worli CPS used to transact between 90,000 to 1 lakh. Now that number has gone to about 1,25,000 to 35,000 transacted prices. So we've effectively seen about 20% hike in 1 or 2 years itself. There's a strong uptrend in the market. People who are in the market to buy a property should really close down.
So did I just hear you say that South Mumbai is still living in 2013?
That's one way to see it. Definitely, I think 9 years there's no price increase. Effectively, there would be, artificial ladders, developers saying price बढ़ गई है. But I don't see any price escalation there. The same apartments which was being sold at about, as I said before, 8.5 crores are still 8.5 crores. But going forward, these will be 11 crores in no time.
How is that even possible?
Do one thing for exercise. You take up the registration details from Zapkey for the same kind of 4-bed I'm talking about from 2013. And now you take out the same details of any registration details done last year of the same amount and the same development. And let me know what you think of it.
People think that there is an oversupply of inventory of luxury properties in South Mumbai. How true is that?
No, I don't think there's any oversupply. See, depending on how you qualify that oversupply is, most likely what you'll be choosing is a high quality premium real estate from a branded developer. When you want to grade supply, you have to look at credible supply. So credible supply is all the people who are relevant to you. For example, you would buy from, say, Raheja, Aloda, Birla. Now this is credible supply for you. And in any given point of time, there is always a short supply of these kind of lots. Although there are 20 developments in the market, the ones you like are only 2 to 3. So you primarily choose between those 2 to 3. And there also, most of the time now, most of the RTMI units are gone. Most of the good units are gone. Even under construction, the higher floors, the desired units are flying off the shelf.
Who are your typical clients?
So typically, most of them are big business families, industrialists. Some of the most esteemed family offices are our clients. We're also talking about the C-suite of a lot of private equity firms. We've served a lot of people from Brookfield, Blackstone, McKinsey, also Ivy League banks. So typically, most of the guys who have these kind of budgets, all are well accomplished and well educated people.
Who is your biggest client so far?
Without taking names, I think biggest business family offices in India. One is Gujarat based, one is Mumbai based. And other than that, it's not big or small, but I think all of the clients are.
Do you also cater to the Bollywood industry?
Very few. I think very few fall under the category which can afford what we're selling. So typically the A-listers, obviously they can, but we're not really Bollywood focused.